Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Berger, Mark Novak, episode 268. Wow, we're getting up there. The three biggest mistakes we see when people are buying commercial property. Good morning, Mark. Welcome.
Good morning, Michael.
So let's sort of get into it. We're coming from the perspective you've just you've decided you want to buy commercial property. We won't really get into why commercial over residential. Let's just sort of go a little bit further into it, where someone's made up they want to buy commercial property. They found a property they like. It's within their price range. For this example, let's say it's tenanted. What we see people do wrong. One of the biggest ones is misled in rents. Mark, do you want to go through a little bit of what we mean by that?
Yeah, so the way we arrived to this morning was we're like, hey, what does everyone have in common that absolutely buys a shit commercial property? What does everyone have in common that people we just look at it as trained professionals and just go, oh my God, why did you make that mistake? What does everyone have in common that loses money in commercial? And then we were like, okay, well, there's actually, how do we put that to top three? How do we put that to explain to everyone, like, this is just what you don't do when you buy a commercial property? It's the biggest mistakes people can make. And fortunately, we are privy to hundreds of transactions. We see so many transactions, so many landlords and investors that we have the ability to say, that's a big mistake and that's a champion move. So in the top three, the number one would be, what's on that list?
Misled in rent. So tenanted, it's leased. Let's say it's leased for $40,000 a year. They got a 5-year lease. Sounds great, but sometimes it's not great. And where that can go really wrong is, let's say it's rented for $40,000 a year. They've been there for 15 years, though, so it may be inflated.
Yes.
The current rent, if it was to come vacant, may only be $20,000 a year. So, or the owner owns the property and they want to sell it. There's a lot more value in a tenanted property, so they put a higher rent on it than what it would rent for. Maybe it's $30,000. They do it $40,000 because they know on a yield they're going to get a lot more money. It sounds good, but that's where it can go wrong, because you're buying it at $40,000 on that yield. It can change the price by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Huge. So what a lot of people don't know is that in most leases there's a regular increase every year, irrelevant to what's happening in the marketplace. That rent will go up if it's in the lease. So 4% is pretty common. It's a figure that landlords and tenants commonly agree to. So irrelevant to if business is good, business is bad, economy is good, economy is bad, that rent will just gradually go up 4% every year. Now, when you put that over a 15-year period, the question that you've got to ask is, yes, the tenant's been there for 15 years. Yes, the tenant's paying that rent, but if that is going to come on the market for rent, is that actually going to be market value, or is it going to be way above or potentially even below? And just because someone's paying it, it doesn't mean that's market.
That's a very good point. Just because someone's paying it doesn't mean someone else will.
And if you're basing your purchase price off that rent that just someone happens to be paying, you could be in trouble. Because, Michael, for every $10,000 of rent, how much asset value is that?
So that is 10,000 over 6 is 166,000 a year. Is 166,000
for every 10 grand of rent. So if the rent's 10 grand over market, you could be paying 66K over market on a commercial property. That's less than one.
And that's why you've got to check, because you know that incentive is there for the owner. So you got to check. Now, number two, it's very like it flows on for number one. What's your backup plan?
It's the number after number one.
Yeah, number two comes after one.
Yeah,
what's
before
your
three.
Plan? What's your backup plan? Because what happens if it comes vacant? Is there another use? Is there another tenancy? Because, for example, you've got a great tenant, but it may be the fit out may be very specific to that tenant. And it sounds great, that industry. It's the rent's great, the business is great, hundreds of stores. But when they've had something purpose built, what happens if they leave? Is it easy to find another person in that field to use it? Even if it's not if they're paying 40 grand a year, will someone else pay 40 grand a year? Is it 20 grand? Like, what's your backup plan if the perfect picture?
I'll give you guys an example. An old bank. An old bank used to have no windows to the street, so it could not be robbed. So they didn't like to have a big glass frontage. They had often a big concrete, quite beautiful buildings, some of these old banks. But, those columns, beautiful. And also what they did was they used to feel it was important to walk up to it. So they would have 3 or 4 stairs. Now, anyone who retails would never, ever, ever, ever take a property that has 2, 3, 4, or 5 stairs to go into the shop. It is like the cardinal sin, the thing you do not do when you are going commercial. Whether it's a coffee shop or whether it's a clothing shop, you want it to be on grade, dead level with the street.
There it is. What's your backup plan? And that's 100% right as well. So, and then, because then that will lead to how long it will be vacant for. Do you have to spend money? Like, there's perfect example, Mark, the banks. Like the one in Brookvale, here's the example. It was rented for, I think it was something crazy, $300,000 a year. So if you're paying on a 5% return, that's a $6 million property. But
up for 30 years.
Bank goes. It was then empty for a year. No, empty for 3 years actually. Then you've got to spend money on it, but it was then rented for $75,000 a year. So that turns a $6 million property into a $1.5 million property.
And that goes to what's your backup plan, because if you don't have a backup plan, when you've got, like I said, that a purpose-built facility, they don't want big windows in the front. They were a bank, old-fashioned style. They don't want it on street level. They built up 3 or 4 stairs. No one in retail wants that. So it was like, you're stuffed.
Yeah.
If you don't have that backup plan.
Yep. All right. Number 3. They sell the property.
The number 3 mistake that you will make if you own a commercial property. The top 3. Number 1 was
misled in rent, especially if you're buying a tenancy.
Number 2 was
having a backup plan. What's your backup plan?
And number 3 is
you sell it. So especially when you can understand sometimes of the market, like right now, some rents are down 40%. If your property is supposed to get 50 grand in rent, on a 5% yield, it's worth $1 million, but then you reduce it to 25 on a yield. Now it's worth 500. You sell it. Or you panic, it comes vacant. You're worried about it being empty for 6 months, and then you sell it that way. Like a lot of people rush to sell, don't they, Mark?
Yeah, they do. What's the saying Luke had the other day, time in the market or something with property?
It's not timing the market, it's time in the market.
Yeah. So if with property, guys and girls, if you are the magic, the absolute fundamental magic is the duration that you hold that little puppy. The longer the duration, the more it's going to perform for you. A bit like a plant, leave it in the ground. It will do everything but I won't say die. It generally will always grow. If you uproot it and pull it out of the grass, that's it. You got to eat it.
I love that quote. It's not timing the market, it's time in the market. It's not. I'm just writing it so I can put it as a comment. I reckon it's just when that really hits someone, I think it's a bit of a penny drop moment. I really do, because a lot of people.
It's a big mistake we watch. We see it all the time. It's like, and we're selling the property for the client. It's like, how many times, Michael, have I told people not to buy? Not to sell. Not to sell.
All the time.
How many times?
All the time. Nearly every appraisal. Why are you selling? Because if someone tells me they're selling because they're betting against the market, I'm like, really? Let's have a think about this. Like, what is that really what's going on? Or I love it when they say we're selling because we're upgrading. We're selling because we're doing this. I'm like, great. I'm your man. We can help. But when it's like, nah, I don't believe in property anymore, we sort of always push back. We've heard it all the time. Lesio, thank you. Great content. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I think that's a wrap. Anything else you want to touch on that, Mark, with commercial property?
Yeah, look, guys, I guess in summary, the touch points for today are the basic big things we see people make is they dump that fabulous property. They sell that in a moment of high or in a moment of height, happiness. Great, it's made money. They sell it, or in a moment of low, they like shit. Yeah, GFC. Getting married. Whatever. Cash flow is a bit tight. Weather through it. Push through. It will pay dividends. Don't sell it, and watch those sneaky rents, because like we said today at the number one, like those rents can sneak up, and for every 10,000 of rent a property gets, it is worth 166,000 more on your calculations, Michael. So that is huge. It's big, isn't it? You can really be misled by a long shot on rents that a tenant's paying when you're buying a commercial property.
And you put that on $1 million per, like a tenant paying $100,000 a year, 150. Like, we're talking, you could almost buy another property with the money you could be overpaying. But the one thing I also love on that, there is huge opportunity, which could be a whole nother show, about getting that uplift from commercial property. You buy it vacant, you buy it with a tenant that's paying 40 and you can get 80. You've doubled your property value regardless of the market. It's beautiful.
Yep.
But
so be really careful, guys. But that's it. That's your top 3 mistakes in buying commercial property. Hopefully this helped people out there today, eh?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
See you guys. Love you. See ya. Bye.